let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. As the Jets beat the Bengals 39-38, the last winless team in the NFL finally has a win in the column, as the Jets now move to a riveting 1-7. But as Kevin was alluding to, I am the president of the Justin Fields fan club, and I was most impressed by Justin Fields this weekend, not even what he did on the field, but what he did afterwards at the post-game press conference. And I will get to that in a moment. But before I do, I just wanted to mention some of his stats. So the Jets beat the Bengals 39-38. As we know, the Bengals are without Joe Burrow. They have Joe Flacco in there because Jake Browning from Folsom High School didn't quite work out this go-around. And so Joe Flacco comes in and he leads the Bengals to some success. And they beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football, and they looked like they could actually compete. And now they lose at home to the Jets 39-38. But it's not because of Joe Flacco. As I mentioned, the Bengals had 38 points in this game. Flacco goes 21-34, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a solid stat line right there. Jamar Chase, he did his part, 12 receptions, 91 yards. And T. Higgins, he had only 1 catch in this game, but that 1 catch went for a 44-yard touchdown. And so limited production from T. Higgins, but he made his 1 catch count. Now to the winning side with the New York Jets. Justin Fields, he finishes 21 of 32 for 244 yards and a touchdown, and then he rushes 11 times for 31 yards. And if you look at the graphic of today's episode, you see Justin Fields dashing into the end zone because that came on a key 2-point conversion, as the Jets had multiple in this game. And so I was just really proud of Justin Fields in this game because of his poise and maturity that he showed. And I'll get to that in my thoughts on it in a little bit. But before I give my whole thoughts on this game, I want to toss it over to Kevin. What was your reaction as the Jets are no longer winless and they beat the Bengals?
This was a game that I turned off. I couldn't tell you what the score was going into the fourth, but it was a massacre. The Bengals came out and dominated. This is the Bengals team that we thought we were going to see. You know, like Shaun mentioned, they're missing Joe Burrow, but this is the team that we thought they were going to be. The team that just comes out, dominates from all sides of the ball, and like I said, strictly straight to the point, dominate. We saw Chase Brown getting back involved. A lot of people had Chase Brown counted out, but he's been struggling this year as well as the offense, but he's been able to finally get some production with Joe Flacco. And we kind of saw this revive when he was with the Browns, maybe 2 years ago, and he took them out and took them to the playoffs. I don't know if they'll have that same result after losing to a team like this. It's really hard to say that they're going to make the playoffs. But the Bengals showed a lot. But the Jets, for them to get their first win under the new coach and the new regime, it took 8 weeks, but no, again, it's hard to win in the NFL. And that's what a lot of people fail to mention. You know, it's the NFL's the National Football League. It's the best of the best, no matter who you're playing. Every game is going to be a good game. You're going to get everybody's best. So to see them kind of turn this around and the Jets get this done without their highest paid player in Garrett Wilson, just goes to show that, it's next man up mentality. And they were getting it done. I want to make sure I show some love. Tyler Johnson, he stepped up and got it done. In Garrett Wilson's absence, everybody stepped up. Breece Hall became the Breece Hall that we saw early on in the season. The Jets, I really look at the Jets as this whole 8-game season as a 2-game season. The first game when we were like, oh shit, it's the Jets. Like, they might be here. And then this Sunday, they didn't give up. They were able to get it done for their coach. This first game our first win as a coach, as a head coach, excuse me. A lot of good things to see from this Jets team. Is this going to be them turning it around and, trying to figure it out? They've lost a lot of close games, but they also lost a lot of ugly games. So this Jets team is a roller coaster. Shaun will say it best, being the president of the Justin Fields Club, it is a roller coaster. But, as of right now, it's a roller coaster that's on a high, and, shout out to the Jets.
Yeah, I really have to enjoy this high that is the Jets win with Justin Fields leading the way. Excuse me. I really have to enjoy it for what it is because it may not come very often throughout this season. And so I'm going to bask in that glory. But Kaz, as you saw me indicate with my arms, OHIO, that was your favorite part of last week's episode as you were tuned in. But yeah, I thought that was a great point that Kevin mentioned. with Garrett Wilson. I don't know why my voice is fading out right now, but as it continues to fade out, Kaz, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Aaron Glenn getting his first victory as an NFL head coach.
Yeah, when I was doing my weekly picks, that was one of those games where I'm like, shit, dude. Like, do I ride the Joe Flacco hype train and you know what I'm saying, like, just give the Bengals the win and the Jets are the worst team in football, this, that, and the other, or do I kind of show my nuts a little bit and be like, you know what, the Jets can win this game, which I did actually believe that it was a winnable game for the Jets. I really did. I'm like, it's not that the Bengals are a juggernaut now just because they won one game. No, that's not the case. They had a good game. Joe Flacco came in, did what he did last week, and that didn't change everything for the Bengals. It gave them some hope. I almost took the Jets to win this game just because, but I mean, the way that it panned out, the Bengals 100% should have won the game. They should have won the game. The Jets ended up sticking around for long enough, and in the NFL, if you stick around for long enough in a football game and you're heavily underdogged, you're, I think, more often not going to win the game. So I'm not surprised that the Jets did end up winning the game, but I'm more so disappointed in the Bengals. Like the fact that they couldn't just handle a team that's dismantled. They're not good. They're not, they're very far from great. Their coaching is questionable, and they allowed them to stay within arm's reach. Mind you, I'm a big guy when it comes to division. So you look at the AFC North. You got the Ravens in shambles, right? You got the Browns. Okay, you got the Bengals, who, I mean, you pick Joe Burrow, and those guys go to the Super Bowl. If I'm not mistaken. But you almost look, if they were to win this game, you actually look like you actually know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you have that, and then you also have the Pittsburgh Steelers. No team in the AFC North right now is like just this celestial being to where it's like, oh, these guys are going to for sure, make a run. It's open. The Bengals needed to win this game. They need to win it so badly because Joe Burrow is going to make his return, and the only way they're going to have a chance to make it anywhere in the playoffs is if they have a winning record or close to it, to where they can even get in the playoffs. This is a game that you have to win. You can't lose to the Jets. They're the worst team in football. You just put on a crazy performance last week. Jamar Chase looked like the Jamar Chase that we all know, and then next week, what do? Nice touchdown to T. Higgins. Okay. And you battle it out with the Jets. You can blame defense, you can blame offense, you can blame coaching, whatever. You can't lose to the Jets. The Bengals are in a situation where they need to lose to only good teams. The Bengals should be losing to the Bills, the Rams, the Eagles, we'll say Pittsburgh. Lose to those guys, teams that are winning games. You can't lose to teams like the Jets when your season is at risk because your star quarterback is down. You have to win the games that are winnable. This is a winnable game. This is actually an embarrassment when it comes to the Bengals. It's embarrassing. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it. Just when it comes to the Bengals trying to stay alive until Joe Burrow gets back, and as we know from that early timetable, it's looking like, man, I don't know what's going on with my voice today, so I apologize to the listeners. But it's looking like it's going to be 3 months until Joe Burrow is able to return, and that pinpoints him right in the middle of December, which there's going to be maybe 3 to 4 games left at most. And so the Bengals, as Kaz said, they really got to win the winnable games. And a loss like this really makes me think of my hometown Sacramento Kings, because like even last night, the Kings are playing a Lakers team without LeBron or Luka, and they let Austin Reeves drop nearly a 50-point triple-double on their head, and the Kings lose to the Lakers at home. And a team like the Kings always lose the winnable games, and then they somehow beat the best teams randomly. And for the Bengals, if they want to sneak into the playoffs and let my Super Bowl prophecy come true, then they got to win these games. And this was definitely a disappointment on that end. What I wanted to finish by saying about Justin Fields is what made me most proud from him on Sunday wasn't even what he did on the field, but it was what happened after the game when he was talking to the media in his post-game presser. He got very vulnerable, and he told the media, and he even prefaced before he said it, he was like, all right, I'm getting really vulnerable here. But he told the media that that he found himself this week in his closet on the floor crying because of how the season had gone for the Jets. The fact that the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, was just talking about him publicly in a very disparaging way, saying, you know, the problem's not the coaching staff. The problem's not this. The problem's not that. The problem is our quarterback. If we just got a better performance from our quarterback, then maybe we wouldn't be where we are right now. At the time, they were winless. Justin Fields took that on the chin, and he went out there and he got the win, not for Woody Johnson, but for himself and for his teammates and his coaches. Because after the game, there was follow-up questions to what Justin Fields was saying, just about his vulnerability. And just on that note, I have to give him so much credit and props, because as men, we don't often share our feelings in that way publicly. We may have close confidants that we will confide in, but for him being such a public figure, especially in a market like New York, where not only the fans, but the media will just tear you apart, and a statement like that and admitting to going through that personally, that is just total material for New York radio hosts to just be like, oh, our quarterback cries. Like, I bet you the next time that the Jets lose a game, they're gonna say, oh, someone's gonna make a dumbass reference saying, oh, I bet Justin Fields is in a closet crying right now. But Justin Fields, he shared a moment of vulnerability, and I think that should be commended and appreciated, because we don't see that often. And then the other part that I wanted to get to is the media who were there in Cincinnati. They did their jobs in terms of asking him follow-up questions about that and about the comments that Woody Johnson made. And he said, yeah, that's all outside noise. And a media member pushed back on him and was like, how is that outside noise? That's coming from the owner. Like, that is as internal as it gets. And he said, yeah, I understand the point that he's the owner, but as far as I'm concerned, that's outside noise. Because if my teammates believe in me, if my coaches believe in me, if I believe in myself, if my loved ones believe in me, then that's all I care about. And the rest is outside noise. And so my final thought on this is that Justin Fields just got to the Jets this year. The Jets have been perennial losers for decades. And what's the common theme? It's not one coach. It's not one player. It's the owner. And I circle back to my Sacramento Kings again, because here in Sacramento, we're very appreciative of Vivek Ranadive for saving the Kings from going to Seattle, Anaheim, wherever else they were going to go. But he's kind of worn out his welcome because he tinkers with the team too much. And when you have an owner who has their hand in the pot too much, that's when you see the team start to fail, because the owner thinks he knows everything, because the owner has had success that has led them to having millions and billions of dollars, that they think, oh, I know everything. I can fix this team. And then they end up making it worse. And that's exactly what Woody Johnson has done for decades. And that's what Woody Johnson, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but that's what he attempted to do this week by disparaging his quarterback in a public manner. And so credit to Justin Fields for not only showing vulnerability, which we don't see very often, but also the fact that he went out there and he let his play do the talking, and he led the Jets to their first win of the season. And so I shared to our group chat on Instagram, proud president, because I am proud of Justin Fields and who he was as a man, not only a player, but who he was as a man this past weekend. And so it may be a party of one, but we are partying it up in the Justin Fields fan club this week. And kudos to him.
God damn, brother, you love that motherfucker for God damn. You love Justin Fields, damn.
Well, you know, Kaz, it's one of those things where I like hitched my wagon to Justin Fields once he got to Ohio State, and I was like, this is my dude. I'm rocking with him. And I think back, I always reference this on the podcast, but I think back to when Justin Fields was leading Ohio State throughout the college football playoff, and I was like, this is the guy. And I wanted the 49ers to draft Justin Fields. And when they didn't, I was quite disappointed. And, his NFL career hasn't really panned out the way that he may have wanted or how I may have expected, but he's still out there and he's still starting for an NFL team. And he led an NFL team to a victory this past weekend. And so it's like, as I said earlier, there's not many victories to take, but I'm going to ride with Justin Fields until he is no longer an NFL quarterback. It's just, that's my guy. And so I'm going to continue to rock with him. Even if I look dumb sometimes, I'm going to continue to rock with him. And that's just how I feel about it. So I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my core. And this is kind of just one of those things. But
I mean, you hold on. I mean, you like who you like. It's like me with Miles Sanders. It's like, I can't never say a bad thing about Miles Sanders, even though he's not anymore. But I loved Miles Sanders. I thought when we got rid of him, it was the biggest mistake in the world. And it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, we have Saquon now, and after Miles Sanders, we got DeAndre Swift, who's both those guys are better running backs. It's just called what it is. But I'm like, I think Miles kind of got blackballed a little bit, in Philadelphia, where it's like that was not a bad running back. I'm gonna defend that guy for a long time, and you give him the carries, he produces every time. So I get it, man. I totally get it.